Okay, so to begin with, TigerLily is a social marketing platform. We basically work with Fortune 1000 companies, and we enable those companies to optimize and manage all their marketing actions across social web. We are preferred marketing developers, and we work across about 60 different countries. There are mainly three reasons why our customers use the TigerLily platform. The first one has to deal with making it easy for them to collaborate around each social actions they turn out to deliver, whether it is on Facebook or Twitter or even YouTube. So we make it easy for them to ease the workflow, whether it comes to publish any kind of content, whether it comes to managing the different roles, the different permissions within the company. So that's mainly the first reason. The second reason has to deal with making it easy for them to industrialize and localize as much as possible all their campaigns in each market, which is really key. It's really difficult for those global campaigns it's really difficult for them to coordinate campaigns with teams spread across different markets. So we make it easy for them to localize all those campaigns at one single place. The third reason why they use TigerLily is to basically measure their performance and access some actionable data, so they are able to optimize their actions on a day-to-day basis. We happen to work with all kinds of industries, ranging from luxury with Louis Vuitton or Dior, beauty brands such as all the L'Oréal luxury division globally. We also work with a couple of financial services, for instance, BNP Paribas or Société Générale, also a couple of entertainment companies such as Disneyland, and some retail companies such as M&M's, for instance. So today I will start with KPIs, because it's really important for you to start with identifying the right KPIs to measure your progress. I will afterwards share a few tips with you so you can optimize as much as possible your performance on social, and afterwards share also a couple of concrete case studies. So let's start with key social KPIs. Of course, most of you already have a close look to how big is your community, whether it is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever. So the size of your community is a great deal for you. The growth rate also is a great deal. And also you certainly already pay attention across your different campaigns to your ability to be able to acquire not only unique visitors, but also active users. So you should certainly pay a close look to your conversion rates on each campaign. So acquisition of users is the first KPI. The second one has to do with reach. That means your ability to reach as big as possible, as a matter of fact, size chunk of your actual community. And it's not only about measuring the amount of people you were able to reach, it's also about seeing to which extent you had to invest some real money to reach those people, or if you manage in a way or another to reach this community organically. Here, as you can see, for instance, about a third of the people I reached, I did have to reach them with paid money, paid media. So it's really important to play a close look at the way you manage to reach your users. Also, across the different campaigns you're able to launch, it's really interesting to see how many impressions you were able to create out of those campaigns. Facebook, for instance, make it really easy for you to implement some actions, and they call it some open graph actions, to increase the level and visibility for all of your social campaigns. The third KPI has to do with your engagement rate and your virality rate. The more engaged will be your community, the more you will be able to increase your organic visibility and your earned media. So that's a key metrics you should look at. Another one is to be able to measure to which extent your social campaigns are viral. And to pay a close look at that, you should not only count, for instance, the number of likes, the number of comments, the number of shares, but also see to which extent those many kind of social interactions are able to manage to create some additional visibility for your campaigns. Also, an interesting KPI here is the ratio between the number of shares and the number of users. So for instance, the bigger this ratio will be, the highest the most viral your campaign will be. So that's a ratio that is really interesting to look at. The last KPI you should look at, and you already, I guess, measure it, is the amount of traffic you are able to drive, maybe on your website, on your e-commerce website, but also on your store. So, of course, you have to put in place a system that enables you to track as much as possible all this traffic. It's not really simple at first. You can start with your e-commerce website and afterwards enable all your stores to track if a user is coming from Facebook with a coupons, for instance. It's really difficult, but at least you can start with implementing some Google Analytics tag in your campaign, so you're able to measure to which extent you were able to drive some additional traffic on your website. Okay, now let's move to best practices. There's mainly 5 I'd like to share with you today. The first one has to deal with enabling you to optimize your edge rank. So maybe some of you might not already know what the edge rank is. The page rank, you already know it. It's your ability to really score high in terms of SEO, and for instance, be in the first page of Google. So the edge rank is your ability to reach as much as possible your community of fans. And the more engaged your community will be, the more you will be able to reach your users. So the first tip I could share with you is the necessity to tag all your contents. So for instance, I'm a luxury brand. I post about 4 or 5 contents a week, dealing with events, dealing with promotions, dealing with invitations. And at the end of the week, it would be really interesting for me to see which content performs the most, whether it is in terms of reach, in terms of engagement, and eventually those kind of insights will make it easy for me to optimize my content and optimize, at the end of the day, my reach. So you should definitely pay a close look at the kind of topics of your contents, the format of your contents also. Should that include some pictures, some videos, some special links, whatever, and being able to optimize this content is the most sure thing to optimize also your reach. The second tip I would like to share with you is the ability to optimize your social mix. So that means that you have to optimize as much as possible your content and your investments insofar to create as much earned media as possible, because actually you're doing social because you want to create some campaigns, some content that are as viral as possible. And here, to give you an example on this screenshot, you can see that at the very beginning of this Facebook ad campaign, it was really bad because nobody did interact on those ads, so it was really poor. Eventually, the agency maybe who managed this campaign managed to improve the quality of ads. So as you can see, the engagement raised a little bit, and the company managed to create some additional earned media. And it turned out that while creating some additional content with some more Facebook ads, they managed to even more improve the amount of engagement and therefore the amount of earned media. So paying a close look at that is the best way to optimize your investment and optimize your social media efforts. The third tip I'd like to share with you has to do with being able always to create some local content and some local campaigns. And here, creating social campaigns doesn't have to be difficult, doesn't have to be expensive. What you should do is, as a headquarter, pick a few programs, pick a few campaigns, and then afterwards being able to localize all those campaigns in different planning. So you can optimize your engagements with local experiences, with local contents. The fourth tip has to deal with being able to make your campaign as much social as possible. What does that mean exactly? That means being able to leverage as much social platforms as possible. So for instance, we used to run some campaigns, some programs using both Instagram and Facebook, using maybe also Spotify playlist games or contests with Facebook. And this way you can really create some more additional visibility for your brand, not only on Facebook, but also on other social media platforms. Another way you can put some social features into your campaign is to integrate some more social features such as open graph actions. So that means that each time I will click on the want button, or each time I will click on a vote button, if it's a contest, I will create some additional visibility on my timeline, so my friend can not only see the brand, but also access to the application. So it's not only good in terms of visibility, it's also really good in terms of additional user acquisition. The last tip has to do with thinking mobile from day one. Here you have an example of a campaign we ran for Chloe. It was like 2 weeks ago, and it was a live event. And it turns out that about 50% of users who did access to this live event checked this event on mobile and tablets. So you don't want to miss those 50% at all, and you have to definitely think not only about Facebook.com, for instance, but about being able to provide a campaign which is accessible across all kinds of devices, whether it is your website, Facebook page, mobile web app. You have to cover as much devices as possible. Okay, now let's move to a few case studies. I have mainly 2 for you. The first one is what YSL did like 6 months ago. What YSL wanted to achieve is to create as much PR as possible, and the way they managed to do that is to create a product that was exclusively made for the Facebook fans. It was called the Facebook Palette, as you can see, and the idea was not only to create some additional visibility across print, press, and online, but also to drive sales on their e-commerce website. So the way it worked was basically as follows. The user accessed the Facebook app within the page, win the chance to purchase the product and interact with his friends to give them the chance also to win the product. And afterwards, the user get the chance to purchase the product on the e-commerce website. And as you can see, the campaign was run across 3 different countries. I believe Japan also launched a campaign like that later on. And they not only managed to increase the level of engagement, but also to create some additional sales on their e-commerce website. It's, as a matter of fact, a small number. 80,000 euros is a small number, but as a matter of fact, the ROI is already great on this campaign, and the level of awareness YSL was able to create with that was extraordinary. The second case study I'd like to share with you is about Chéreau. So what Chéreau wanted to achieve is to drive traffic not on an e-commerce website, but also on stores, in stores. So what we did is launch a campaign. It was based in Spain, and the idea was to enable the users to get some samples. So they access the application, receive some special code by email, and afterwards go directly in store. It was organized, I believe, in El Corte Inglés, which is a big mall in Madrid. And the idea was that in this store, they were able to flash those codes So Chéreau was eventually able to track all the conversion on those coupons. And as you can see, the conversion rate was quite high, as a matter of fact, and they were not able to acquire additional users, additional opt-ins, but also to convert those users into basic customers. That's it. Thank you very much for your attention. And I'll be here this afternoon if you have any questions to ask and want to engage with me. Thank you.